Let's get into a Western Conference Finals preview as the Dallas Mavericks will take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Harrison Graham and Jeffrey Cooperstein with you on Mavericks today. Coop.
Can't wait.
Great job in Game 6, watch party. Thanks for holding it down. It was epic. Awesome comeback. And then obviously last night, kind of same for the Timberwolves with an awesome comeback after being down 20 in the second half. This is going to be good, man. And just full disclosure, Coop and I each have our predictions.
We do.
We don't know what the others is, and at the end of the show, we will reveal those to you. So
I'm excited to see.
Stay tuned for that. But I think just on the surface, and we'll obviously get into the nuts and bolts of this, Coop, this is a fascinating matchup for so many reasons.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Minnesota provides a bunch of matchup problems for the Mavericks, and I think the Mavericks provide Minnesota some matchup problems as well. It's going to be a hotly contested series, two very high-quality teams going at it, and that's what you expect in the Western Conference Finals especially. So I think it'll be fascinating. We'll see what stars emerge. Will it be Anthony Edwards? Will it be Luka? Will Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert assert their dominance? It's going to be a fascinating series to watch.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to watch, and we'll, of course, be live for every single game. Who you got in this series? Type DAL for the Mavericks or MIN for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Get your thoughts down in the comments below on who you guys got. Now you look at the television schedule, TNT series, which means welcome Reggie Miller.
It's I'll say this though, TNT is probably better to have than ESPN, and I know TNT had a joke of a series in round 2.
God,
but
they were bad.
ESPN I can't listen to Stephen A. Smith. Can't happen.
That's also true. Every game is going to be 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central Time, except for Game 3. And it's very simple. They alternate days, both conference finals, because the NBA wants a game every single night. So rest up these next two because you're not going to have much rest for the rest of this series. Now, Coop, you look at the Timberwolves, it's pretty simply an 8-man rotation. That's kind of what it's been. Their starting 5 is excellent. Mike Conley finally getting into a conference finals, by the way. I loved Anthony Edwards getting asked that question, by the way, like, hey, do you guys want to win this for Mike? He's like, I want to win this for me.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny, but they obviously prevailed. And then there are 3 guys off the bench, Cooper, all very good players. Naz Reid, 6th man of the year. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's been terrific. And then Kyle Anderson, you kind of forget Kyle Anderson is in Minnesota, but he's been a key role player for multiple teams now.
Yeah, he can kind of do it all there. He's a little bit of a point forward type. He's 6'10". He has one of the ugliest shots in the NBA,
Oh,
by the way.
terrific.
But it goes in at a decent clip enough. Yeah, I mean, they're a really good team, really 8-man deep. Like, those bench guys will play legit minutes, like you said. Naz Reid, 6th man of the year. And Alexander Walker is one of the better bench guards in the NBA as well. So they're a deep team, and they're going to test the Mavs because I'm not sure the Mavs are as deep as this right now.
Yeah, and look, they've kind of done what the Pelicans tried 7 or 8 years ago with the twin towers of Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. And I know it's easy to make fun of kind of both of those guys for different reasons, but it's clearly been successful. It's worked, and we'll talk about how the Mavs can combat that. But, hey, we are right there, 12 subs away.
We need to get there before game
27,000. Yeah, I'm telling you this right now. If we don't get to 27,000 subscribers before game 1, we're not going live. So help us out and hit that subscribe button. I expect us to get to 27K ASAP. All right, Coop, coming up, we'll get to our keys to victory. What do the Mavericks need to do to win this series? Then, of course, we'll each have our predictions. But before we do that, we got to get to our friends, our sponsor, our lovely sponsor. We love Prize Picks. They've been our sponsor throughout the NBA playoffs. And if you have not created a Prize Picks account, the best daily fantasy sports app out there, this is a great time to do it because you got the conference finals getting going, starting with the East tomorrow night. NHL conference finals getting underway as well pretty soon. Stars in it. I mean, man, what a time to be a DFW sports fan. And why not get in on the hot and heavy action with Prize Picks? PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for a $100 deposit match for a first-time sign-up. Sign up today. It takes less than 90 seconds to create an account, less than 60 to fire off your first entry. And the way it works is simple. You choose more or less on stat projections. I like Drew Holiday going for more than 12.5 points in game 1 of that series tomorrow night. The Pacers, I think, are going to come out a little bit flat in this one. Celtics have been well rested. Pacers just played a grueling 7-game series. I do like TJ McConnell to get into double figures. He's been great for Indiana. But Tyrese Haliburton, he's been kind of hit or miss in his scoring, and I do think Game 1 is going to be challenging for Indiana. I like Boston to roll. So that 3-player entry, 10 to win 50 there. You can win up to 100 times your money on certain entries. Go check it out. Conference Finals, NBA, NHL, got Major League Baseball, tons of sports available, WNBA as well, prizepicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS for a $100 deposit match for first-time customers. Okay, Coop, number 1, play Ant aggressively. Why don't you expand on this one here?
Yeah, I just think you have to kind of play Ant in the way that the OKC Thunder played Luka, where you just have to be up in his grill 24/7 and just make things as uncomfortable as possible for him. When he is comfortable, he's one of the best scorers in the NBA, and we've seen that. He has extremely explosive athleticism. I think the way to defend him is to try to take that away, whether it's trapping him, pretty aggressively, or you're putting Derrick Jones and PJ Washington on him and just trying to add physicality for him to not be able to get to the rim at will. I think that's a huge key.
Who do you expect to get the initial assignment here? Jones?
I think it's going to be Jones.
I think it will be Jones too. I think he's quick enough. Look, you're not always going to stay in front of him, obviously, but I do think he's got a better chance to somewhat consistently stay in front of Ant. Now, Washington's probably a little stronger. He's definitely thicker, so I think he'll get that assignment a decent amount as well. But I think with his length and his athleticism, Jones probably gets the first crack at Anthony Edwards in this series, which will be a fascinating matchup with how great Jones has been for this basketball team.
He has been so good on the defensive end, and I expect that to continue here. I think he'll do – I'm not saying he's going to limit Ant to less than 20 a game, but he may be able to take away some of what Anthony Edwards likes to do, and I think that plays right into the Mavs' hands. Because, I know Karl-Anthony Towns is a great player. I don't think he can beat you by himself in the finals. So if you take away Ant to the best of your abilities and make Cat the one that they have to run the offense through, I like the Mavs' chances.
Well, and I'll put it this way, too. Who's got a better chance of beating you 4 times, Edwards or Towns?
It's Edwards.
I'll take my chances with Towns. I think Edwards definitely is capable of doing it. I'm not sure that Towns is. Number 2, limit the turnovers, which started to creep up in the last series. I want to say in at least 3 of the 6 games, the Mavs were beyond their season average.
12 turnovers in the first half of Game 6.
Oh my God, it was an epidemic. It was unbelievable how much they were turning it over in that game. So that's got to go down. Minnesota's very athletic, Coop. We were texting before Game 7 of Nuggets Wolves, and we were like, man, I could go either way on who I'd rather play. The thing that stands out to me though is how athletic Minnesota is. Dallas for sure would have had the athleticism edge over Denver. That's probably a wash probably in this series. If anything, it probably leans Minnesota.
Agreed.
So I don't think you can just be careless with the ball and let them get out and run.
Yeah, the Mavs were one of the best teams in the league this year at taking care of the ball. I believe they averaged 9 turnovers a game or something like that. They were really good at it. And in this last series against Oklahoma City, whether that was a product of how Oklahoma City played them or whether it was a product of Luka just not being focused, and I know him and Kyrie both just made some passes that really made no sense. They tried to pass out of double teams and make hero plays. So hopefully the Mavs can limit that, because if you turn it over against this team, it may be way more costly than it was versus the Thunder.
And guess what? You thought the pressure was rampant against OKC. You're about to play the best and most physical defensive basketball team in the NBA. So the details are going to matter a lot.
Now, we'll see if they're allowed to get away with murder like Lou Dort was, but we'll see on that.
Well, Minnesota was allowed to be pretty physical against Denver in that series. So, look, I don't think you can expect a friendly whistle here. You're going to have to
agree.
You're going to have to play sharp. Number 3, you need Kyrie to be more impactful earlier in games. I know it's a broken record, Coop, but he's going to have to be better.
They need it to be the case. I was talking about it. I was getting pretty pissed off at when the Mavs were down 17 during Game 6 of that watch party. I was like, where are you, Kyrie? Well, he showed up, which he always does pretty much in the second half. But imagine if he played a full 48-minute game. I think it would help the Mavs tremendously. So I keep saying this. I think Kidd needs to draw up the first 3 plays of the game need to be to get Kyrie 3 attempts.
I don't mind it.
I really think they need to and get him involved in the flow of the game, because he did it in time last series, but it was almost too late where he became the aggressor.
Well, and that's the thing. Last series, he wasn't even really outside of Game 6 and maybe one other game. even this spectacular second half.
No, he wasn't.
He admitted it was the hardest series of his career.
Yep.
He thought they posed a lot of issues. And look, Edwards and McDaniels are, with their length and athleticism, it's not an easier challenge
at
here.
all.
So, like, Kyrie's going to have to find different ways, and maybe he learned some things in Game 6 to take with him with the next series. But it's not like baskets are going to come easily super often in this series for anyone on this team, much less Kyrie Irving.
And that kind of leads to my fourth point is I think you need to try to push the pace against this team.
They did that against OKC in Game 6 a lot.
Exactly, yeah. Get them out in transition and don't let them set their defense, because when they can set and they want to play a half-court game, that's how Minnesota can really stifle you. So I think if you're the Mavericks, you're trying to, if you get the rebound, you're trying to go quickly, and you're trying to just get them on their heels and make them as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah, I agree. They tried to do that more against OKC. It helped them get back into the game, and it was definitely critical. And I think that's been a big reason why the Mavs have been a better team this year, is because they have sped up their pace of play, which is at or near the bottom the last few years with Luka Doncic. And then number 5, this isn't really a key. This is just kind of just a storyline. Is Maxi Kleber going to come back? And if he does, what will his role be? I think he's almost guaranteed to miss the first 2 games, because Friday, Coop, would be the 3-week mark when they would reevaluate him. I guess in theory they could reevaluate him Thursday or early Friday, and if they clear him, he could play. But, like, what's his conditioning going to be?
Right.
So I think the absolute earliest you would see him would be Game 3 at home. So we'll see. He did some light shooting, some mid-range shooting the other day. So
I think he's
doing some physical activity.
Yeah. And I think it'd be huge to get him back, because, as we outlined, the length and athleticism of Minnesota is massive.
Well, they have 3 legitimate bigs that play heavy minutes, including 2 that start.
And Maxi is one of your most versatile defenders, and he can play the 4 and the 5 as well. So if you can add that third big, so to speak, I know he's kind of more of a big wing, but if you could add him and you can try to throw him in there and use his physicality on defense. We know he can knock down a couple of shots as well. It would be a big get if he was able to play in this series. I can't say I'm counting on it. I think the only way he plays for this team is, God forbid, that they win this series and get to the NBA Finals, but it'd be nice to have him back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, okay, let's say he gets cleared after the three-week mark. I would still think it would take 3 to 5 days to get the condition. Now, maybe he plays on some minutes. Like, hey, you could play 12 minutes. Like, I'd still take it. I mean, that would be huge. So, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of circling, like, that Game 4 range. Like, you'd be at almost 4 weeks then. If you got cleared at the 3-week mark, that would give you, like, 4 more days until Game 4 starts. So, like, I could see that as a possibility. I don't think it would be – he probably wouldn't be full go until the NBA Finals, but, I mean, if you got him for the final 4 games of a potential best-of-7 here, like, say you get to Game 4 and you're down 2-1, like, he comes back, that might be the difference in winning a best-of-7 here.
I just got a call from the script writers, and I'm seeing it right now. Maxi comes back for Game 6. He knocks down 4 threes, and the Mavericks win again in 6.
Oh, is that it? So
that's what the script says. That's not my prediction.
Oh, okay. We'll get to our predictions here in a sec. Biggest key to victory versus Minnesota. Let us know. And this kind of goes without saying, Coop. Luka's got to be better than Ant. I mean, we don't have to dive like crazy deep into that, but you're going to need your best player to be better than their best player, which is normally the case. I mean, the last series is kind of the exception. I think Shea had a better series than Luka, but the Mavs role players were significantly better than the Thunder. And I'll add this. Game 5 and Game 6, Luka was spectacular. So when it was money time, he delivered. But, I mean, it's not hard to figure out why the Mavs won that series. Their depth was significantly better.
Yes, it was.
Than Oklahoma City's.
After this OKC series, I really have a dislike for the Thunder. I really hope that doesn't happen with the Timberwolves, because I love watching Anthony Edwards play, and I think he's a great personality in the NBA.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's a well-fought series. It's a clean series. No funny business goes on. And the Mavericks end up winning it.
All right, give us your biggest key to victory in this series against the T-Wolves. And all right. Here's how we're going to do this. We'll count down 3, 2, 1, and on go, we'll both spit it out.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Mavs in
7.
Let's go! Yes!
I wanted to stick with Mavs in 6, but here's what I'll say. You can lock it in. I hope I'm wrong. They're not winning Game 1. That is a consistent theme
They'll go 0-6
under Jason Kidd. So, and I respect Minnesota too much. You're going to win 4 of the next 5 against this team?
I don't know,
That seems unlikely. So I'm going to go in 7. This team has proven to win big games on the road in their last 2 playoff runs now.
Yep.
They beat Phoenix in Game 7 2 years ago. They've won 2 pivotal Game 5s on the road this year. I don't think they'll be scared by a road environment in Game 7.
Look.
So I'll go Mavs in 7.
You just split the first 4. It's 2-2. You make it a best of 3. You go win Game 5. You have a chance to win Game 6 at home. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But either way, you have 2 cracks at it. I think they're going to get this done, and I think the Mavs are going to be playing in the NBA Finals.
Man, 4 wins away from the NBA
Come
Finals.
on, man.
And by the way, I'd say it's even more of a long shot, but we're a round away from a Carlisle
yes, we are.
Mavs orgy, for a lack of a better term.
Well, you either get Mavs versus Carlisle or you get Porzingis. So which one do you want?
And Porzingis, he's not going to play this series.
It doesn't sound like he is. So we'll see.
Nice luxury.
It'll be something.
All right. Kind of rambling on here at the end. Here we go. Mavs T-Wolves, Game 1 on Wednesday. We'll probably be back tomorrow with some kind of video getting you ready for that matchup as well. So stay tuned. Go Mavs.